People, Deluded, I'm back again. I've got a good friend of mine called Jack. Unfortunately, we're going to be enemies on Saturday, but who better to preview the game than a Newcastle man himself, man? How you doing, my guy? You right?
I'm good, mate. How are you? How are you? Good. How are you feeling about the title race and stuff?
Title race? Do you reckon the title race is still on, man? Like, City's in it.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
we fucked it, bro. Like, of course, I hope I'm wrong, but it's out of our hands. The minimum we can do is just win all our games and hope City drop points. I know a lot of our fans are doing the whole goal difference thing. I'm gonna leave that to maths teachers. We didn't control the controllables, bro. We've effed it
Yeah.
really. Like, it's done, bro. It's done. It's not done. Obviously, mathematically, we still fight. I don't want to do the woe is me, but it's over, bro, man. It's over. In fact, that's a good way to start. Before I ask you about Newcastle, as a neutral, like, what do you make of Mikel Arteta's time at Arsenal? Because obviously he's been here 7 years. He's rebuilt the club. We've been in a title shout. But like, what have you made of it as an outsider, man?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, obviously, you go back to sort of the start, and he won an FA Cup immediately, basically, with Unai Emery's team, and you could tell that wasn't the players that he wanted, but he got the best out of them in that occasion, got the FA Cup. But then he decided, he didn't want Aubameyang, he didn't want Lacazette. I'm trying to think who else there was. Was Guendouzi there? Probably he got rid of Guendouzi, Mustafi,
well.
Socrates. I mean, it goes on. Pepe, doesn't it? So many players that he moved on, and now he's got his squad that he wants. I don't think there's any question that this is the team that he wants. I suppose the striker's probably the only one that he might have wanted someone else. In the end, Berta, I think, is more responsible for Gyökeres than anyone else. And I feel like one trophy in that time isn't really enough. But what I will say, there has been consistent progress from Arsenal. Arsenal have gone from sort of being, they were a mid-table team at one point, during that sort of lockdown season. 20. Yeah, 8th. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Arsenal are not a team who finished 8th, are they? Let's be fair. So I think that it's been consistent progress. There was different ways of doing it. So 22, 23, I thought Arsenal played some brilliant football, really, really good, really entertaining to watch. Couldn't quite beat a Man City team who did the treble that season. To be fair, they won the Champions League as well. Very, very hard. 23, 24. I don't know. That was a bit of more of a weird one. It's hard to know exactly where that sort of went wrong. It kind of felt like it was in Arsenal's hands, and then we had some truly terrible results in that season in the end, towards the end of the year, wasn't it? And that kind of ended up blowing it. Was that the Southampton year?
Yeah, no, you're on about the year before. 2024, 23, 24 is when I think that might have even been the Brentford year where they didn't draw the lines, but we ran it to the last day of the season. But obviously there was games we could have won before such.
Yes.
But
sorry, that was when you had a brilliant end of the season, wasn't it? You went on a really good run.
Yeah,
went a really good run. Yeah, so you were really impressive then. And then last season you were a bit nowhere. And then this season, there you go. Yeah, that's fair. Leave it at that, mate. Leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. And then this season, it's been in your hands the whole time. And I think the fact that it could come down, well, Man City could finish above you. You could still win it by a few points. It could come down to goal difference. I think it's on Arteta, that, to be honest. And I think it's not, I don't know, because it's not, I feel like in the first half of the season, he played some really good football. It was free flowing with Eze in the 10 and other players playing well. Second half of the season, it's a lot of performances have just seemed a bit scared and lack of control. Not even like a lack of control. Actually, not like a lack of control. Trying to have too much control of games.
And when you try to do that, you control nothing.
You control nothing. You can only, momentum is a thing in football. We saw with the Wolves game against Arsenal where they get one goal back and then, wow, those Arsenal players look terrified. Yeah. They really did. And
especially away from home.
Exactly. And I feel like the fact that it could actually come down to goal difference in the end is kind of appalling, to be honest, from Arteta. One thing I'll say about Man City, CJ, is Guardiola's only just found out his best 11. Literally.
Exactly.
He's been searching for it all season, and now he's found this team that it just clicks, doesn't it?
With O'Reilly with them, as you said, that's the biggest word at this point of the season, bro.
The momentum is with them, absolutely. Although what we'll say is I do think they'll drop points. I think you'll drop points. I think it'll be decided on goal difference.
If it goes down to goal difference, my boy, it's a myth, man. Because we've kind of, like you said, momentum. I think one thing that I realized early in that I think we used to be a great defensive side. This year, I think we've been a good one. I think we've been shipping cheap goals. Now, in this current period, or you could say the turn of the year, but more in this kind of cluster, that's kind of gone downhill. We all know for maybe some of our attackers are not really that good, but we should be getting a lot more bang for our buck, whether it's the players individually, if they're up to task, or Mikel Arteta. So if we're not necessarily a great attacking side, a great defensive side, and as you said, City have momentum, they've clicked into gear. Pep spent all season trying to find his best 11, and now he's felt it. It looks dark, man. The only thing I would say is why I wouldn't give up, because mathematically you've got a chance, but when you have to start squinting for positives, it becomes a myth, man. Let me ask you this then, like, if this was, let's say, like, obviously you're a Newcastle fan and I'm Arsenal. Let's just say Eddie Howe's come in, he's done what he's done. He's got you, he's rebuilt the club, let's say, yeah. He gets you to this stage where you're kind of flirting with winning the Premier League, like everything you've seen with Arteta. If that was Newcastle and Eddie Howe, yeah, basically, because it's kind of similar, because they both kind of be on the.
I think
If that now, because you're a Newcastle fan, would you be saying, you know what, you don't win the title, it's time to go type of thing, or would you be on like one more season sort of thing if the shoe was on the other foot?
Really interesting. What thing I want to say is, I'm not going to sit here and say Newcastle are a bigger club than Arsenal. That's not true. Arsenal are a bigger club than Newcastle. Arsenal have a more successful history than Newcastle, especially in the Premier League. You know, you've won the Premier League numerous times. Newcastle blew. I mean, my granddad always goes on about it. Like, they were 13 points clear. Yeah, 13 points clear. And he always blames Keegan for that. He's like, just shut up shop. What are you doing? Just shut up shop for the rest of the season. You know,
there's similarities between Keegan and Arteta in that regard, then as well. To be fair, man,
you don't have to be. You don't have to be the entertainers anymore. You can just shut up shop, like, win the games. It's fine.
Get the job done.
Yeah, and so I think you make a really interesting point. I feel like with Newcastle, if we became a title challenging team, I think most people would be just extremely happy with that. Eventually, it would probably get to the point where you're like, okay, now we want to get over the line. But I do think it is just a little bit different with Arsenal. And again, I'm not like, I don't know, I'm not trying to disparage my own team, but I'm saying that Arsenal and Newcastle have different expectations and different realities to where they are. What Newcastle have done over the last 3 years is absolutely brilliant. You know, we've become a team that everyone usually hates playing against, although we will get on to.
Oh, I can tell you for free, we hate playing against you, bro. I don't like playing Newcastle. Tell you for free. I was shocked, and you know what? Yeah, it's actually ironic that it's Arsenal versus Newcastle, and obviously I'm an Arsenal fan. You're a Newcastle fan, yeah. Because in the Premier League, I think the Newcastle game that we played, that's the best I've probably seen. I know there's been games we've won 3-4 or whatever, yeah, but I think from start to finish we was good. You lot were competing as well. We came back from a goal down. Arsenal fans, I feel we do this thing, whether rightly or wrongly, when there's an incident with the refs, we don't necessarily get points and we kind of focus on that. But the Gyökeres penalty wasn't given, whether it was or what wasn't is irrelevant. And I feel Arteta had that balance. He complicated where he needed to complicate. He simplified where he needed to simplify. All the starting players stood up to be counted. The subs apologies made the difference. And that was the game at the period, because I can't remember, but that felt like that must have been the first 4 or 5 games in the season.
That was, I think that was the 5th game of the season. That, yeah,
it was early, innit? Because that was the first game. Everyone was like, "Oh, you know what? Like, it's a must-win for Arsenal if you want to win the Prem." That's when I thought, honestly, bro, that the pennies dropped in that Arteta is going to start playing some free-flowing attacking football. Because I don't know why, but when I think of Newcastle away this year, I just think of Eze. I remember he had a very good start to that game. And then you fast forward now, it's a different kind of period in that obviously Newcastle season's been up and down, us has been up and down. There's question marks over both managers. Both teams really and truly need the 3 points. You know, it'll be a big relief for both sets if you get it. It's kind of disaster if either doesn't. So it's a bit of a weird one, bro. It really is, man. But I can tell you for free, nobody likes playing you lot. Like we got beat up by you lot in the League Cup final. There's been many times we've gone Newcastle away and you lot. It's a terrible example, and God forgive me, but it's like we've jumped in front of a train. Like that's how hard you lot have hit us, innit? Like I'm happy. I actually always want to play you lot earlier in the season. I don't like playing Newcastle away or Anfield when you lot have a bit of momentum. You got a bit of cobwebs. It's give or take with Anfield. St. James Park, the nastiest place to go to as a visiting fan. If you're a casual football fan, it's magical. If you're a Newcastle player, it's magical. But I can tell you for free, bro, nope. That is one game I was happy at the time that it got done. That's a question to ask you as well. Like, what's the temperature on Eddie Howe? Because I'm not a Newcastle fan, but I watched the show on TalkSport with yourself. I obviously browse a couple of Newcastle fans, and it does similar. It is kind of similar in my opinion to Arteta. There's some fans that are like, you know, Eddie Howe, you've done a brilliant job for us, but maybe we have to try something new. There's some people that are Eddie Howe to the end, and there's some that, you know what, Eddie, you got to go regardless, sort of thing. Like, what's the temperature around Eddie Howe for Newcastle and obviously yourself?
Mate, great question. Oh, but quickly, I do want to tell you a quick story about Arsenal and Newcastle. I watched it. Obviously, I've moved to London now, and I braved Box Park Croydon to watch it in my Newcastle top. There, everyone everyone in Arsenal shirts. When Waldemar scored, I give it the big in. And then when Gabriel scored, they all celebrated in front of my face. I was like, well,
But that's what football's about, man.
fair enough. I'll take it. But actually, you know what, that game, I was so impressed with Arsenal. I mean, Nick Pope kept us in the game. He made some brilliant
big
saves.
game.
Yeah, he had a big game until the end when he absolutely messed it up. But anyway, it doesn't matter. And that I thought was a big win for Arsenal. I was absolutely good at the time. I thought it was a huge win for Arsenal. In the end, you've dropped points elsewhere, but still, yeah, fair enough. I think, okay, Eddie Howe. I was just on the Gooniverse actually with our, James Bayless. Yeah, absolutely. I was on there with their podcast last night, and I said it feels like the end. It feels like the end of Eddie Howe. It really does. Yeah, it really does. And I'll go to one particular game, which it might be a surprise. It's not the 2 defeats of Sunderland. It's not getting battered by Barcelona. It's not losing to sort of some teams that we shouldn't have lost to, like West Ham, Brentford, or whatever.
Well, join the club, mate.
It's actually Crystal Palace a couple of weeks ago, because it was 3 weeks after the derby. So there was international break in between. Some players were on international duty, some weren't. But there was a lot of time to work with the players. And one thing Eddie Howe complains about is the fact that he doesn't have training time this year because Newcastle were in Europe. So, of course, if you look at Eddie Howe's, and if you look at Eddie Howe's best seasons, they are when we don't have Europe, we finish 4th and 5th. In the years where we don't have Europe, it seems like he's very good. Yeah, exactly. He's really good at that. So I was expecting this game against Palace, a team who had got the Conference League, just played the Conference League first against Fiorentina. They made 5 changes. They rested their entire midfield. They rested their entire front line. I was expecting something. I saw absolutely nothing. There was no new ideas. There was no energy. It was flat at the end. Eddie Howe looked a broken man when he was in front of the away end. We scored first, like we've done second most times in every of the team in the Premier League this season. But we've lost 25 points from winning positions, CJ. 25
I think
points.
we got something like that as well, I'm sure we got like 21 points dropped from winning positions. I remember being on TalkSport with you talking about it.
Yeah, I can try and find what the winning points
I'm sure it's 20 something. I'm sure.
I don't think yours is maybe winning.
I'm sure we've dropped. I'm sure. Yeah, have a look, because I'm sure we've dropped 20 odd points from winning position. I'm sure. I'm sure we have.
Positions. So Newcastle are top with 25 points lost. Mate, you've only lost 9.
Oh, fair enough. I must be on about a next statistic or something. Yeah. I must be on about something else. Fair play.
You've lost that. You're 15th for that. From points dropped.
Fair play. I must be on about something else. There's definitely a statistic around that, because I remember being very critical on that. I'll find it, but I can't remember. Fair enough then.
No, yeah. So, but Newcastle 25 points dropped from winning positions, and you're not going to take all them. But if we take, say, half of those, we're level on points with Liverpool right now. We're well in the race for the Champions League.
Yeah,
and it does kind of feel like the squad's reached the end of its cycle as well. I think that no matter what happens in the summer, we need 10, 11 to leave. And it's not like a get out the club. It's like, I love you. You've been amazing for me. You're some of the best players I've ever seen play in the black and white shirts. But we need a refresh. We need you. Because I'm a Newcastle fan. I'm not a Nick Pope fan. I'm not a Jacob Murphy fan. I'm not a Dan Burn fan. I'm not an Eddie Howe fan. I'm a Newcastle fan.
Said a lot of guys, and you're right. Yeah, sorry to cut you. Like guys that have been part of it and whatnot. Because there's some of the names that when I think of Newcastle, I do think Pope, I do think Murphy, I definitely think Eddie Howe, and so on and so forth. But you got to kind of be cruel to be kind. I feel the same way differently, but I feel the same way about Arsenal with the Jesuses and the Kais, and we'll be here all day. You're right. There's a lot of similarities between the clubs, man.
No, there is. I found myself talking with James as well. And the thing with Howe is, I'm sad. I'm just sad. I want it to work out. I want him to be the manager who takes us on to whoever, but we could finish genuinely 17th this season. Genuinely, we could. No, we could. So Newcastle have lost 8 of our last 11 games in the Premier League. Okay, 8 of the last 11. We are conceded the most goals in the last 15 minutes than any other team in the Premier League. So there's just consistent collapses. Yeah, all of the time. And we've gone soft. So another example I like to use is actually 22-23, Newcastle v Arsenal, 3rd v top at the Emirates. Horrible, horrible game. Like Lascelles got booked. He wasn't even on the pitch. The ball was in play for about 30 minutes. Arsenal. I
love the dark arts.
Arsenal were trying to play their free-flowing football. Newcastle would not let them.
You lot just said, fuck off. No, we're not doing that.
We were so nasty. So nasty. It's gone. It's gone. We're soft. We can see from nothing. Like Bournemouth played very well against you, I thought. They didn't even have to play well against us to win. And they didn't have to play well against us to win. And when Asula scored, probably for the first time in a long, long while, I don't think anyone believed we were going to win that game. I think it was kind of like, they'll still win. They'll still win.
So that tells you where you lot have been feeling.
It's gone soft, mate. It's gone mentally soft. It just feels done to me in so many ways. And at the moment, the club are saying that Howe's going to stay. But there's a very realistic possibility we lose all our 5 remaining games. And if that happens, that'd be 13 defeats out of 16 to end the season. He can't stay. He can't stay.
Really, yeah, yeah.
Stay.
The writing on the wall looks horrible there, man.
And it's not like, and again, I'm sad about it. I don't want him to go. I'm sad about it.
That's how I feel about Arteta. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I'm sad about it, mate. But it's just it's so difficult because, like, I'm seeing nothing from him. It seems like he's run out of ideas. He can't use Walter Marder at all. I don't know what that is about.
He looked like he was going to be one of the stars of the season at the beginning, and like he can't get a game. I see him playing in midfield occasionally and things of that ilk. I don't know what's going on, man. Because even your recruitment, I know the summer was annoying for Newcastle fans. You had the whole Isaac thing. You tried to get Sesko, it didn't work. Hugo Ekitike, it didn't work. Eventually, obviously, I remember fans on social media being quite critical. I'm sure you signed Ramsey, but people were happy about Vita and whatnot. I hear you on that, I do hear you on that.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So recruitment, we can touch on that a little bit. This is the worst player I've ever seen wear the number 9 shirt for Newcastle. The number 9, yeah. Because the number 9, it's like, again, I was speaking to someone, I can't remember who it was, but someone else.
Ferdinand and Shearer. It's a big thing at Newcastle.
And they were talking about the 14 for Arsenal.
It's a big number.
The number 9 for Newcastle, as I say, Ferdinand, Andy Cole, Shearer. We've got Jackie Milburn, who used to be the club's top goal scorer as well. But then more recently, there's Rondon, who did well. There was Obafemi Martins, who did well. There's Papa Cisse, who did well. All right, Joe Linton wore it for a little bit as well.
And then, thank the Lord, he went into midfield, didn't it? Done the reverse Kai Havertz.
But this, look, he might not be fit. And if he's not fit, then he shouldn't be on the bench. But when he's playing, he's putting no effort in whatsoever. And he's wearing the number 9 for Newcastle. It's like whoever wearing the 14 for Arsenal, just not running around, not doing anything, not producing anything. It's or the number 7 for Manchester United. It's these are like iconic numbers, and
you've got to put in a shift.
Yeah, not doing you justice. I've seen worse strikers than Vista, by the way, for Newcastle, which is incredible. But
like you said, it's the effort.
They weren't wearing the number 9 shirt either. That's the thing. Callum Wilson was the last player to wear the number 9 shirt. He's our second top Premier League goal scorer. Did a very, very good job in that number 9 shirt. So this says, and then Alanga. I mean, oh God, I don't know.
I could have told you that wouldn't have worked out, man. That just screams someone that's not going to work. Like he just runs in a straight line. He reminds me of Martinelli. He's like them kind of players. They can win you. Like, do you know what it is? Like 38 Premier League games. There'll probably be 3 to 5 where they're blisteringly good. You think they might turn a corner. Their decision making is perfect, but it's like putting your hand, the sweets, round cheese, randoms. It's like putting your hand in there. You don't know what's gonna happen. Like them players must frustrate the living daylights out of managers, let alone fans. So another thing as we can relate, because Alanga, straight arrow, innit? He just runs in straight lines. He just does things straight. It's exactly like Martinelli, man. They're the same player. And obviously we've got Noni, who's decision making a bit better than Martinelli's, but also exactly like that. So I definitely feel you on that, man. I want to circle back on something. Yeah,
go for it.
Because
go for it.
There'd be many things I would say about Newcastle. When you say Newcastle, Eddie Howe, tactically astute, massive club, fans. It doesn't matter what weather. There's no tops on. Horrible ground to go to. A very good tactical team. One thing I wouldn't say is soft, even though, granted, I'm not watching Newcastle week in, week out. I know you're not having a great season, but I wouldn't say soft. Like, how has it gone soft? And what do you specifically mean? Is it the effort? Is it the manager's tactics? Is it you're not compact defensively? Is it people are not running in midfield? Like, what? Obviously, that's music to my ears going into Saturday. But that's one thing I wouldn't have said with Newcastle.
This is what I'm saying. Any Arsenal fans watching who are worried about this game, don't be.
Nah, we have to, bro.
Don't worry about this game. Don't worry. We are so bad at the moment. We are so bad. But in terms of, I think, going soft, so a lot of it, obviously, Newcastle's side was built on physicality. Like the back four, at one point, they were all over 6'4", basically, bar Trippier. The midfield was all over 6 foot. But then you also had Isak, Callum Wilson, all over 6 foot as well. Big physical team with, obviously, the star quality of Isak and Bruno Guimaraes added in, and Sven Botman when he was fit. And
another one, big him up. He's on poor with injuries, isn't it?
Yeah, before his ACL injury. He's getting back to his level, but it's taken a while.
It's
But
gonna take time, yeah.
yeah. But so, and I think we bullied teams a lot. We bullied, we did. Now a lot of teams have
Bullied us
caught up.
numerous times, bro.
Yeah,
Numerous
we
times.
did. Yeah, we did. Big broad you, I guess. For us.
Yeah. Even 1 year, that I think there was a year like we didn't get top 4. It was us versus Spurs, but I think we had you lot and Spurs back to back. We were shit in both games, but you lot just it was horrible. But only Xhaka stood up to be counted, and even him, it was long. You're right.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that game. Yeah,
horrible Newcastle away, man. I've been scarred. Can't lie. It's just because you lot are just it's dark.
I think it's because we're so aggressive all the time. Unfortunately, you can't do it 3 times a week. I don't think so. The energy of the players is down. Then we sort of drop back into like a kind of 4-5-1 mid block, and basically what happens is the midfield 3 stand in a flat line. And every single team just pops a man in behind the line, and then you're in the back 4. And I see it. Everyone sees it. Nothing happens from the sideline. It doesn't change at all. It's the same thing every week. Eza is going to cause havoc. In fact, I've brought him into my fantasy team and captained him. So, he is going to cause havoc. Off that left-hand side, he will be drifting inside. He will get so much space. It's genuinely unbelievable. So this is a problem. When we have more possession, we can't create anything. So in a lot of games where we've had possession in matches this season, we've lost. So the one game again I always talk about now is Wolves away, 0-0 draw. It was in February, January, I can't remember. We were playing till now and not scored. It was literally just pass, cross to no one. Pass, cross to no one. Pass, cross to no one.
So I feel.
There was a stat at one point where Newcastle put in more open play crosses than anyone else in the league would scored once.
So it's not, something's not working there.
Yeah, but then nothing's changing. So it's like it's not working, but then he's not changing it either.
So you believe in what you're doing, bit like my manager. You believe in it, and it's not working, but you're doubling down. So now I have to criticize it even more.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing. And then in terms of the gone soft thing, yeah, I mean, honestly, like the goal we can see against Bournemouth, I don't know if you saw the second one, but basically Truffert that scores the goal, the left back. So Murphy is supposed to be marking him. Truffaut's in front of him the entire time. The cross comes in. Murphy's still nowhere near Truffert. Ivan Nilsson beats Botman and Byrne in the air, nods it down for Truffert, who's unmarked in the middle of the 6-yard box, and just volleys it into the roof of the net.
Certain things that were taken for granted, really, that was intangible at Newcastle.
Yeah, where's that effort? Where's that effort to get back? And like, as much as I think Howe is at fault for a lot of reasons, a lot of these players who he's giving careers are throwing him under the bus. They are throwing him under the bus. But equally, he's probably been too loyal to them in a lot of ways. He's been too loyal to them, and their level has dropped. I mean, Jacob Murphy to Isak last season, it was the best duo in terms of goal contributions in Europe. You know,
he used to be a bit of I don't know what you call like a cult hero at Newcastle. Probably still is, but form isn't.
Yeah,
isn't
he is. He is. Unfortunately, though, that right hand side is embarrassing. Like Murphy and Alanga have both been absolutely terrible. I mean, Alanga, I was in the new camp for the away leg, so I saw him score twice, and he was still rubbish in the game. That was when he ran the ball straight out of play, and he scored twice.
How I feel about my wingers, man. That's how I feel about my wingers. It's weird that in football nowadays, like wingers are some of the most frustrating. Like you don't really have confidence that they can consistently take their men on and have some decision making. Like they're all kind of the same. You either get the wingers that are like attacking midfielders out wide, or you get the Martinellis, the Noni Maduekes, the Alangas that just frustrate and just run straight. Like I just can't. My pet peeve is footballers that don't think. I can take a lack of ability, but I just hate footballers that don't think. I'm sure he thinks he's thinking, and I'd rather be a footballer than be on YouTube, innit? So you're better than me. I can't talk, but you're just hella frustrating. And I watched the Newcastle Barcelona game, and I felt the same way with Alanga. Like, how have you popped up with 2 kind of goals? But based on what you're saying, it's kind of like, you know, tactically the Newcastle haven't evolved. The recruitment wasn't quite right. Eddie Howe looks, I don't want to say out of his depth, but you're struggling to find something that clicks. And players are just past their sell-by date, and obviously it's not clicking, which are intangibles and similarities to my football club. This is why it's weird, bro, because I could say the same things, and it's the only difference is the club, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you're right. I've noticed this speaking to Arsenal fans as well. If it's like you look at your squad, I mean, I think if I look at your left-hand side, I kind of compare to our right-hand side because I think I don't rate Martinelli at all. I mean,
I love him, but I don't rate him anymore. I can't rate him. He doesn't rate himself.
No, I don't rate Martinelli.
It's horrible, man.
I did a few years ago. He was really good a few years ago. I don't know
The
what.
first year you spoke about when we fought for the title, he looked
Exactly,
like, you look like you could be better than Saka. That was a debate we had. Now,
No,
I
you're
can't
right.
believe we had that conversation, bro.
Trossard has been a great signing for us.
Lukewarm,
Really, really good signing.
inconsistent.
But his level's gone. I don't know. I'm watching him now. He can't beat a man. He doesn't get. He's not getting in the box to get goals anymore. I don't know what's happened to him.
100%.
A lot of the other players have been ran into the ground, like Timber. I mean, what was that like? Great player, but even before he got injured, his levels have gone. His levels have dropped significantly.
Since his ACL, you're just playing week in, week out. Ben White, Saka, the same. If they're fit.
You can't do that. You've got Arsenal have a huge squad. I don't know why Norgard's not played more. Like, especially in like a game. There's been numerous games where you've been like 3-0 up or 2-0 up. Bring Norgard on for half an hour. You don't need to play Zubimendi for 90 minutes. You don't need to play Jurgen Timber for 90 minutes. You don't need
And
to
you're a
play
Newcastle fan, so you're saying what we're saying. So we can't be wrong. An outsider is seeing this, bro. Even Miles Lewis-Kelly, to not utilize them. Norgard, I don't understand it. The only thing I can say, bro, is I don't think he's rated. I don't, because I didn't expect him. Kind of what you said there. I didn't expect you to start. I did feel it would be a thing where maybe it would be Zubimendi and Norgard. Maybe it'd be Rice and Norgard. Definitely, like you said, if we're 3 goals up, you're coming on, you're getting 20 minutes here, you're getting 30 minutes, or a lot of the games, because in the Premier League, we've all had to do it. You're a goal up, you're up against it. He comes on, kind of shore up shop. Like you wouldn't think this was Brentford's captain last year. So I don't understand that. I'm starting to think, do you know what? Partey left. You were just an easy recruit. You're not going to break the bank. This is going to be your first kind of big move. Like at this stage in your career, you're not going to really make a song and a dance if you're not playing. Not that you're happy to be on the bench. It's just like the easy thing. Like with me, with my recruitment, bro, like I was happy about Gyökeres because I do think he's an ugly striker. He's not perfect, but just because you're a bit of a killer, I was on that. And I do think we're in this habit of giving Arteta all the players he wants. I do think if you're going to be a top manager, either Arsenal or elsewhere, you're going to have to deal with Mavericks that got a bit of a chip on their shoulder and players that don't necessarily fit your philosophy. So my thinking was, you get Gyökeres, who isn't your type of striker, yeah? I thought maybe that would force you to kind of change. And I was telling Arsenal fans, I think when I look at my 8 players, there's 3 that I thought would raise the level in it. Like Gyökeres being one, we ain't got a striker. Obviously, Eze is Eze and Zubimendi. We're talking about if Zubimendi can pass the ball forward. Eze's obviously found his feet now, but we all know the first half of the year. And I don't care what no one tells me. We could have got Isaac, who I think is the perfect striker for Arteta. We could have got him, Haaland, whoever you wanted. Sesko would link with them times. Ekitike. They might have done a bit better, a bit more sexy general play, but we'd still be talking about the final third. So I think there's a lot on Arteta. And I just feel we've got a defense capable of getting over the line, even though they ain't. But my attack, I don't know what to bet on. Like the 4 years we fought for a trophy, yeah. And this is mad because we do score 100 goals. We're up there for goals in the Prem, but I always say you don't know who's going to get them. It's only Saka that's been consistent. Trossard's been on it and then off it. Martinelli's been on it and then off it. Noni, I don't get mad at Noni because I knew it wasn't going to work. Like you've got 1 goal, same as Martinelli in the Prem. Like,
so you don't waste time getting annoyed at him.
How can you get annoyed? Everyone saw him at Chelsea. I'll see him at Arsenal. How can I get vexed? Gabriel Jesus is one that needs to be moved on because of wages. Unfortunately, he's nowhere near the player he was at City, let alone his first year at Arsenal. If I have these conversations or feel this way about my attacking unit, we're not going to get anywhere. I've got more faith in a 16-year-old Max Dowman, Gyökeres because of his form at the moment, and Eze. I should be saying that about all the attackers. If you were to split the team, bro, into 3 parts in it, so defense, midfield, and attack, I'm cool. I'm the most confident with my defense. All of them, like you lot are cool. Midfield, it's like Rice and Zubi. I like you. It's more we're running you in the ground. Once you get to the final third, so how do you expect to win trophies, bro? Like if you lot score, great. Like I always say, bro, it don't shock me if you score, and it don't shock me if you don't score. How do you expect to win a trophy if you're doing this? It's madness, bro. It's absolute madness.
And then, well, I mean, all right, we'll touch on Gyökeres actually because it's quite an interesting one.
Go ahead, bro.
I said to everyone that is the wrong striker for Arsenal because he would be brilliant for a transition team, a team who have less of the ball. They don't need him to be necessarily technically good and hold the ball up. They literally just will play on the counter attack and just smash the ball in behind. He can run onto it,
and he's on his bike. Yeah,
he'll cause a lot of havoc because he's got a very powerful shot on him, and he's actually very good at shooting when he gets the space too. But in terms of like in and around the box, he's got no technique. Can't hold the ball up at all. He's just a bit of a donkey in some ways.
So Weatherspoon's bouncer, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think what weirdly. You mentioned, I think Waldemar would have been unbelievable for you. I do.
Yeah, because he does a bit of everything. He drops into midfield and does all of that kind of stuff.
Because he's creative, and if you get players around him, which Arsenal would, you'll see the best of him. And you mentioned there, actually, again, this is so weird, another parallel. You mentioned about the fact of like getting not the perfect player for you and thinking you're going to adapt. I thought I'd say this with Howe, but I haven't. Waldemar not his perfect player. Instead, what he's done is dropped him. And we've got Asula up front. And I like Asula because he presses. He's a young lad. He clearly is a good character around the dressing room. But he shouldn't be starting for Newcastle United in the Premier League.
He's just not that guy.
He's just not a guy. And he's actually got 2 in his last 2, to be fair to him. But it's got massive limitations.
I'd back him to bag against us, I'll tell you that.
I think we'll score, but we'll lose. But I think we'll score. But still, yeah.
But do you know what? Like, I think it goes either way, because for me, I'm one of them fans. I'm as confident or as negative based on what I see. Now, I can nitpick about the like I've done in it, the tactics, the players, the recruitment. But when you're doing your thing, like the first half of the season, I can say, all right, there's confidence. Now, since the international break, every game we've played domestically has been poor. The only benefit I could see from the City game was the performance. I feel if Arteta is brave, like when he done the man-for-man pressing thing and he put Eze out wide, I do think a lot of this has come too late. Should have done that a few months ago. But that first half gives me confidence. The second half, not so much. Obviously, we lost. He took off Eze. Even though Eze weren't setting the world alight, I think you have to keep them kind of players on because they are capable of doing something. I want to ask you about your recruitment as well, yeah, because I wouldn't say it's a parallel, but it is in that, Newcastle obviously have new owners and your fan base deserve that. I don't want to scare any Newcastle fans who listen to this, but Mike Ashley, the less said about him, the better. You've got owners, right? Obviously, you're crippled by FFP to a point. You can't really spend what you've got. The bigger clubs kind of are protected in that regards. I do believe that. But then at the same time, that's where, as much as signings can go right or wrong, when you do have money to spend, you need to make sure it makes sense. And as a neutral looking in, I don't think what you did in the summer made sense. Waltmar started well. That's probably Eddie Howe and him don't see eye to eye. But the rest, I'm not really convinced by. Like, how did you feel about your recruitment, and how have you felt about like the funds Eddie Howe has had to spend?
Really good point, because ultimately you live and die by your recruitment, I think, in a lot of ways. So I think what I'll say is Newcastle did try to be extremely ambitious last summer. There was bids in for Mbeumo, there was bids in for Ekitike, there was bids in for João Pedro. And on another summer, we come out with a very, very different looking team. In the end, we probably should have, with the Isak situation, we probably should have just let Liverpool sign him and then we signed Ekitike. Because what happened is, instead, we agreed a fee with Eintracht Frankfurt for Ekitike. Both teams agreed a fee. He chose to then go to Liverpool, which is, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, slag him off or whatever. Like,
it is, unless you're Real Madrid, like, it can happen, innit?
They're the Premier League champions. I understand it. Newcastle are a big club and they're ambitious, but they're not as big as Liverpool. It's the way it is. But then at that point, I think Liverpool had promised Isak that they were still going to sign him anyway. So, okay, whatever. So then and then Callum Wilson left. So we had, at one point, it looked like we were going to have no striker, basically.
Yeah, like you know the drama in the summer, man.
Yeah, we're going to have no striker at all. So then obviously Vissa comes in on transfer deadline day. Waldemar comes in just beforehand. Isak goes to Liverpool. And ultimately, Howe built his team around Isak. The entire game plan last season was, how can we get Isak to score goals? And he was amazing at it. So I get it that changes things. But then equally, you've got these players now, and you've got to find a new way of playing, and he just hasn't been able to do it. Now, I really like Jacob Ramsey. I've always rated him. I think he's. I love it. How positive he's on the ball. He's kind of like a better Joe Willock, basically, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, exactly. Big up Joe, our former boy. I love him.
Yeah, look, Joe Willock used to be genuinely my favorite player.
Puts a shift in.
But back 22-23, when he didn't have his 2 Achilles injuries, I thought he was on the cusp of the England squad, because he was incredible for Newcastle. He really was. Unfortunately, 2 Achilles injuries, which I think are the worst in football now you can actually get, to be honest. He's just not the same player anymore, unfortunately. It's sad, but it is the way it is. But so Ramsey's an upgrade on that. It hasn't quite worked yet, but I've seen more than enough to be like, I think he's going to be absolutely class next season. And then I think if we go back to other summers, if we go back to the start of last season, where Newcastle in the end win a trophy and get the Champions League, that transfer window was the worst out of anyone in the Premier League. We signed Lewis Hall permanently. He was already there. We signed Vlachodimos on a PSR deal to make Elliot Anderson go to Nottingham Forest. We lost Elliot Anderson. We lost Yankuba Minter as well to Brighton. And look at him now, flying
And
for
Anderson,
Brighton.
yeah,
exactly. And then we also signed John Ruddy. And we signed Willis Sula and spent the whole summer chasing Gahey. And that was Paul Mitchell who was in charge of that was Paul Mitchell who was the sporting director at that point. He was absolutely useless. He turned down James Trafford as well. Last summer, we were back in for James Trafford. We couldn't get a fee agreed. We didn't move quickly enough. He goes to Man City. We'll be back in for him in the summer, but it's going to be for probably twice the cost, and Aston Villa want him, who are going to have Champions League football to offer him. Now, Trafford,
everyone's throwing their hat in the ring.
Yeah, now Trafford, CJ, is the one that really annoys me. I think some of the other ones like Ekatike and Buemo, Huijsen even we win for. I understand that. You know, they go to Real Madrid, they go to Manchester United. I know Manchester United didn't even have Champions League football, but look, I get it. It's still Manchester
United. It's Man United, the biggest club in the land, really,
Yeah, I get it. I get it. But Trafford's the one that really annoys me because as much as Man City had a buyback clause, they weren't looking at a goalkeeper until Edison went at the Club World Cup and was just horrendous. And then they were like, we need a goalkeeper. We'll come over Trafford. Newcastle had that little transfer window to get Trafford. And he was telling everyone he was joining Newcastle. He told everyone he was joining Newcastle.
So you
personal terms were agreed. Look, it's an absolute... And now we've been left with Ramsdale and Pope. And they're a big reason for how bad we've been this season because Pope's
Ramsdale is... I love him, but he's different, man.
No.
I'm trying to find a kind word. He's just in his own world. He's in it. Ramsdale's in his own world. Ramsdale's one of them keepers. Do you not... In fact, Newcastle fans, do you not feel the same way? Yeah, like... It might not be the same in it, but when Ramsdale's under consistent pressure, like games when you're under the cosh, he looks like, I don't know, Van der Sar, he's making mad saves. When he has things to do, but he doesn't really have things to do, he drops clangers, like he's so prone to doing madness. Like, what's the temperature around Ramsdale, man?
So my view on the goalkeeper situation is, I think Nick Pope's probably cost us about 12 points this season, genuinely. Look, Nick Pope, when we signed him, was a brilliant shot stopper. He's never been good with his feet. That's fine. That's literally fine. He's always been he was a very good shot stopper, and he was very good at sweeping, because obviously Newcastle played such a high line. The ball would come over the top. He'd run out with the box. And the only time he got it wrong was the game before the Carabao Cup final when he handled it. And he missed the Carabao Cup final.
Yeah.
So, apart from that, he was spot on. Unfortunately, got a shoulder injury, and he's just never been the same player since in lots of ways. Like last season, Dubravka was a big reason for why Newcastle went on a great run. Pope came back in, and we finished the season pretty well. But I think Dubravka should have been the goalkeeper still. So he's just not the same goalkeeper. And then Ramsdale is better passing out, obviously, but he's erratic. And I think one thing I don't want a goalkeeper to be is erratic.
You want a calming kind of guy.
I want a consistent goalkeeper. I don't want one who's going to go from an 8 out of 10 to a 3 out of 10.
This is what I'm saying.
A 7 out of 10. And then you might get a 4 out of 10 in there as well.
This is what I remember of Ramsdale. This is Ramsdale, bro.
Yeah. So I don't want us to sign him permanently. I don't think we're going to. I'll thank him for turning up and being there for us. But ultimately, signing him was like, you've cut your leg open. You can't get to the hospital for the stitches, so you just stick a sticky plaster over it. That was Newcastle with a goalkeeping situation this season.
Give some example, but But you're right.
That needs addressing.
Oh, to be fair, we're gonna need a second choice keeper because I reckon Kepa goes. I actually think Kepa, and I know he's not a goalie, but no God go. Just because whether I rate you or don't rate you, you lot were starters last season. You could go elsewhere and go be starters if that kind of makes sense. Obviously, Kepa's is a bit different because you had to have known that. I want to be competitive. I want to play. I ultimately want to be number one, but Raya's better than you. You're not an idiot type of thing. Norgard's just not had the look in. So I do think there's a lot to do. That's a good thing, though, because looking at your club, it seems like there's a lot of speculation now. Granted, media speculation and what's going on in the real world are different things. But, like, do you think the first one I want to ask you is Tonali and Gomares? Like, do you think any of them go or whatnot? Because there's consistent links with those.
If Bruno goes, I'll be in tears. And I think a lot of other people.
He's your guy, man. He's like a Brazilian Geordie, really.
He is. His kids are Geordies now as well.
And they'll be Geordies for life.
Look, when we signed him, I'd seen him play for Lyon once against Manchester City in the Champions League. Arsenal, he did turn away. I don't know if he turned Arsenal down, but Arsenal were linked with him.
We're too late for that. Like by the time you lot have obviously sold him whatever you sold him, was too late. They're the kind of guys. You see how you said you got pissed off with Trafford. They're the kind of guys I got pissed off at. Like Gomares, and I would say, what's the other Brazilian guy? Paqueta. Like you can just sometimes you can just see when it makes sense. Because I could be wrong, but it feels like Gomares went to he went somewhere, it didn't work, and he was at Lyon, he rebuilt himself, and now he's with you lot. Or that might be Paqueta to be fair. Paqueta.
He went to AC Milan, yeah.
That's it. But yeah, them two were just, when you see a player and it's just screaming, grab them. We didn't do that. You lot did. You lot's recruitment at one point, I was so jealous. I was jealous around Lewis Hall because I used to watch Chelsea's academy. I was a big fan of Livramento, who we wanted when he was at Southampton. I just think for a while, you lot just done the right, as dumb as it sounds, you just signed the right players, man. But yeah, man, Gomares and Tonali, like, the both goals, one goal, where you at?
Yeah. So, I mean, Guimaraes, for me, I think he's 28, so he turns 29 in November. He has 2 years left on his contract. He's coming to the point where I think he's got one big contract left. It's increasingly feeling like it will be at Newcastle. I think we're going to give him a new contract and it'll make him the highest earner at the club. And I think it'll lock him down until his mid-30s, which I think is the best for everyone. He's not agitating for a move. The only thing I can see is maybe if a Real Madrid or a Barcelona come in for him, I think that's the only way he'd go. I honestly do believe that if Arsenal, Man City came in for him, I don't think he'd leave.
I don't think he goes. Yeah, I don't think he goes no more.
I don't think he'd play for another Premier League team.
He loves you.
Tonali, very different story. His agent is a disgrace. He should sack him right now.
He won't stop doing this.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But it's not even just that, CJ. It's the fact that Tonali was banned for a year, right? And Newcastle didn't have him available. Okay. And during that time, he signed a new contract, which is a risk from the club because he could have come back and been rubbish. And the fans never blamed him once. I remember at his last game before the ban,
you man supported him still.
He went around St James's Park. Everyone was chanting his name. Like, I'm sorry, like he's had nothing but support. And then for his agent to come out and say, oh yeah, well, the plan always was to get him to play for a big Premier League club or to offer him to Arsenal on the January transfer deadline day. That is an absolute disgrace. And I don't believe that Tonali, exactly. And I don't believe that Tonali will push for a move, because if he did, well, if he thought the abuse for Isak was bad, I'll tell you what, he's got another thing coming, because that would be another level. That would be another level.
Literally.
Given what the club of fans have done for him, right? That would genuinely be a disgrace. But
he'd be taking his agents taking the piss, because you have to show respect. Because Newcastle could have just went gambling. We're done with you. It is what it is. You lot rallied behind him. I remember there was a lot of, because obviously as a manager you can't get away from it. Innit? Eddie Howe just consistently said either I don't want to talk about it, or he would just do the Braveheart thing, innit? Like, he's one of us. We love him. When he's back, he's playing. So his agent's shown a lack of class to the football club, if I'm honest with you. So I hear that. That's a good point that I forgot about.
Yeah. So you're right, but I do think he'll leave. I don't know where necessarily. I think that a few Premier League clubs have been linked. I could see Arsenal coming in for him. I don't know if Arsenal would spend 80 million on him, because that's your fee you're going to be looking for. One thing I'll say about him, I do really rate him, and I thought last season he should have been in the Premier League Team of the Year, because when he came into the number 6
maybe goal of the season as well, if I remember correctly.
That one against Brentford. Whoa,
I feel like he scored a madness. Yeah,
that was pretty daft. Yeah,
he didn't win it.
Yeah, because to be fair, after the game, he said it was a cross. Just lie. Just say you were trying to score.
Lie. I meant that. I saw the keeper off his line. He'd be shameless.
He's too modest.
That was a goal, bro.
Yeah. But he came in and that transformed the season for Newcastle in that number 6 role for us. And I thought every game was literally an 8 out of 10. He was just magnificent. This season, a bit up and down. One thing I'll say about Tonali, pros and cons, he covers every single blade of grass.
Yeah.
He can absolutely smash a football. I'm surprised he hasn't scored more goals for us, actually, because he's got ridiculous shooting. He will work hard, the entire match. His passing is not the best. His long passing's good.
Really?
His short passing, he kind of hits it too hard. Sometimes.
Wow. See, I would have said the opposite, but obviously I'm not watching him under the microscope, it's nice to know that.
No. So I think I could see Tonali at Arsenal. He's a very Arteta type of
I'll take him tomorrow, bro.
Fielder, yeah. Manchester City and Manchester United have been linked as well. Apparently, he's turned down Manchester United already. So it could be coming up. I think Manchester City are going to go for Anderson. So Arsenal could have a clean run at him in the end. Or
like you said, 80 million.
I know he does want to go back to Italy as well at some point, because he didn't actually want to leave AC Milan, but AC Milan can't afford him. So it's either stay again, or I think maybe Arsenal. I think for Tonali.
So that's them two, yeah. That's the two midfielders. I
Yeah.
got to ask you about Anthony Gordon. Like, do you think he leaves? And also, this is weird, yeah, because I don't think Anthony Gordon's the best footballer in the world, but I rate him. And I think when I talk to Newcastle fans, yeah, it's almost like they calm my temperature down a bit. They're like, you don't watch it. You might just see him on Match of the Day. He looks amazing, but he seems a bit up and down, up and down. And another reason I like him, I just think he's a shit houser. I like guys like that. I like footballers that people hate. And I think you would, if I was a right back, I would hate to play against Anthony Gordon, innit? But like, I can see even doing this. It's like, what is like, yeah, talk to me about Anthony Gordon, man.
Yeah,
Both, like,
all right.
the links and everything, man.
Okay, so Gordon is a player who divides the fan base, shall we say.
This is why I've always find it mad.
Yeah, I think there are some people who do really rate him. He probably is technically the best winger we have. And if you look at his stats this season, 17 goals, you'd be like, well, that's really good, isn't it?
This is what I'm saying.
Champions League, 10 goals in the Champions League. He's a very, very good penalty taker. He's only missed one, which was against Everton at the Gladys Street end. And when he stepped up to take it, I was like, can we have Nick Pope take it? Like, anyone take it? Like,
There's too much emotion with this.
He's going to miss this. Like, he's going to miss this. Like, it's Pickford goal against him. I was like, he's going to miss it. What's the point of him taking it? So I knew he'd miss that. But apart from that, he's a very, very good penalty taker. But I've got to say that from my point of view with Gordon, since the start of last season, when he kind of had a PSR move to Liverpool fall through and he signed a new deal, he has played well for, I reckon, 5 months in that time, and that's it. That's it.
Sure.
So last season he had a really good run between November and January, where he scored twice against Hughes, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Scored twice against Hughes. Big goals against Tottenham, big goals against Aston Villa. He was kind of getting a goal contribution every sort of week, basically. Then he got sent off in an FA Cup round of 16 game against Brighton. We went out. He got sent off. He missed the Carabao Cup final because of it.
Yeah.
And then he got injured. And then he came back into the team, and basically we were flying with Barnes on the left, Murphy on the right, Isak up front, and Howe changed the formation just to get Gordon back in the team. And we only won one of our last 4. So it kind of felt like he was just being shoehorned back into the team, to be brutally honest. And then this year, most of his best performances have been up front. His performance on the left wing have been not good enough at all. And the main problem, I think, I have with him and other Newcastle fans have with him is he doesn't turn up for these games that we need him. So, like, once Isak leaves, he's the star of the front line.
You're the talisman now.
Yeah. So where is he against West Ham? Where is he against Brentford? Where is he against Crystal Palace? Where is he against Leeds? Where is he against Aston Villa? Oh, Aston Villa are better than that. But still, that's kind of what I'm on about. He's got an excellent record against the Big Six. Such a good record against the Big Six. Goal and assist record.
Yeah. I'm happy he's not there tomorrow. I'll be real.
Yeah. Oh, I'm surprised he's not, to be fair. But still, he must genuinely be injured. So there's that. And then there was another thing earlier this season where Barnes was playing really, really well. And I actually started inside the tune. I called for Barnes to be over Gordon in the England team because I was like, well, Barnes has been better for. Yeah, but obviously Barnes' form has now fell off at an entire cliff. But still, at that point, Barnes was playing really well on the left. Gordon wasn't. And Howe was asked about, well, why he got Barnes on the right, even though he's playing in the better form. Surely he should get the choice to be on the left. And he was like, oh, well, Anthony doesn't like playing on the right, really. I don't give a shit. I don't care. You're playing for Newcastle United. If I'm Eddie Howe, I'm like, well, no, Barnes is playing really well here. Gordon, you're on the right. And
you're not like no Messi. You can't make them demands.
Right. Yeah. Gordon be much better on the right than Elanga. And we saw him on the right last season against Hughes. He put that cross for Isak. Yeah.
Exactly.
He can do it. And so I've got to be honest, I think there's a lot of Newcastle fans who are more than happy for him to leave this summer. If we can get around 75 million for him. And again, we're talking about 75 million for him. So he's obviously good. But it feels like, I think a lot of people feel like he's not fully committed. And we don't want.
You do get that vibe from him, man. You do get that vibe from Gordon. I must admit, it's like he could always. Obviously, it's football, innit? You never want to hear a player's open to moving, and we all understand that. Unless you're Man United, Real Madrid, Barcelona, them kind of clubs, anything can happen. But you do kind of get that vibe that I don't want to like accuse him of anything, but it's almost like you're doing Newcastle a favor a bit. And then obviously, based on what you said about like how he can be up and down versus like a non-Newcastle fan like myself, my perception, I understand the frustration. Do you think he's the most likely to go in the summer? Because he's been linked with Bayern, he's always linked with us and all those things.
Yeah, absolutely. If you sign him, I will carry him there.
Him and Martinelli, based on what you said, him and Martinelli, they're going to send me to an early grave.
I
Man.
call him the English Martinelli. I do. I call him the English Martinelli.
But he's better than Martinelli. So at this point, I'd have it, man. And he actually believes in himself.
But he won't take the penalties. He won't take the penalties. Gyökeres will take your penalties. So
true. Or sacks, yeah. But I wouldn't mind that because I think we need players like that are a bit of shit houses. And he's got that.
No.
He screams Liverpudlian, innit? Like I don't mind that. It's like with players that come from your academy, they kind of get it. Like I would like some Geordies in our team, like players that are just shit houses, like the players that you don't like if they don't play for your team. But it seems based on what you said, like you would understand if Gomares went, like, but you think he's gonna stay. Tonali, it's more we like you. Your agents pissed me off. Gordon, if you go, we're not gonna cry out of the free. So then where do you go with like Livramento and Lewis Hall, like in short and medium term? Because you lot have two of the best fullbacks, English fullbacks about, in my opinion. Livramento's the only bad thing I can say is you just dealt a harsh kind of hand with injuries, innit? You just can't stay fit.
Yeah, I love Livramento. I think what his one-on-one defending is top draw.
So good, man.
The only player I've seen beat him really is Semenyo. We played.
Yeah, there's no shame in that.
Yeah, we played Bournemouth last season. Semenyo absolutely tore him to bits.
There ain't no shame in that, man. Semenyo's a good player, man. And if you can only say one,
exactly.
Right,
and the thing with Tino is he can play left back and right back as well. He's extremely good in possession. It's one thing I say. The only thing is he's not very good at attacking, which I kind of see him as the replacement for Kyle Walker, because you know how Walker just sort of held the width for Manchester City and they'd play him in down the line, but then he'd just pass it back. Yeah. I can see him do
almost like a throwback fullback.
Yeah, like he's not going to put. He's genuinely not going to put any crosses in. He can't cross it. But what he will do is he'll hold the width and you'll be able to retain possession on that side. Yeah. So I think Tino will leave. He's not signing a new contract. He's shown no real interest in signing a new contract. He's been injured a lot this season, which is a shame. But he goes with there'll be no hard feelings from me. I think he's been really good for us. I appreciate that he wants to go and push on and play for someone else. You know, the project this season has gone backwards. There's no denying that. Lewis Hall is a very different one. He is a Newcastle fan, despite being Slough. So I think he's going to be staying for a long time. He, for me, is the best left back probably in the Premier League. I think he's sensational. I really do. I've seen him lock up Mal. I've seen him lock up Bukayo Saka numerous times. To be fair,
he's sick. I can't talk him up high enough. Like you can see when someone was a centre midfielder playing at left back, the man is Lewis Hall's sick. He's like him and O'Reilly. I don't know who gets the left back for England, but it'd probably be O'Reilly. But that's Lewis Hall, one of my favourite players, unrelated to Arsenal in the Premier League at this moment. Like he's sick, man. He's proper good, man. And I guess for you, when he's obviously a good player, and that's the be all and end all and the first thing you want. But then when you're a boyhood Newcastle fan, it just adds to it. And for me, he doesn't look overawed. Like whether he has a good game or a bad game, it's like I'm a footballer. I'm meant to play here. I like people like that. Like I think Lewis Hall is probably my favorite Newcastle player. Looking at your team, like there's a lot of players I like, but he's the one. If I could take him tomorrow, even though we don't need a left back, pack your bags. You're staying in London, my friend, man. You're like, he's sick, bro. I rate him a lot, bro.
Yeah. I honestly, I think he's incredible. I think I've rarely seen a player who's that good technically in any way. The way he wriggles his way out of spaces, wins free kicks. It's just a shame that the rest of his teammates have let him down this season. You know, the only players who played well for Newcastle this year really Guimaraes, Miley, and Hall. And
I even forgot about Miley.
They're the only ones who've consistently played well. Other ones have had flashes and moments, and a lot of them have just not been at the level, unfortunately. Hall has been a consistent 7 out of 10. Bruno's basically dragged us through games when he was fit, scoring penalties, scoring headers, scoring last-minute winners.
So clutch.
Would be in the relegation battle otherwise. We're kind of lucky we're not.
No, yeah. That's why when you said you could finish as low as 17th, I'm looking at the table, I guess mathematically, but I don't. Well, to be fair, Leeds are only 3 points behind you with a game in hand. Well, yeah, no, you look. Well, they'll have a game in hand with you, I believe. But I don't see you finishing below them. I don't see you finishing below Forest or West Ham. And I hope to God not Spurs. The only thing I would say is, as you said at the start of the stream, momentum. Both our teams don't have it. The teams around us have it. The teams around you lot have it. There was even a point, where obviously, I don't want to mention the Tyneside derbies in it, but Sunderland were running away. Like at some point, it genuinely looked like Sunderland win the Champions League race. They kind of regressed a bit, and there was a point maybe a few weeks ago where I was speaking on my live stream. I was like, if somebody said to me, just said the word Newcastle, I'd have said, oh, they're having a bit of a woeful season. If someone said Sunderland, oh, at the moment they're doing brilliantly good. I think you lot were like 11, they were like 12th, and you lot were 13th or 13th or 14th. You was just like that. So I don't know what's going on with your club, man. It's like you lot have been up and down kind of this season, a bit like us, even though, yeah.
This season, the reason I'm so annoyed with this, it just feels like a massive missed opportunity. When you look at the Liverpool, you look at Manchester United, I don't think are that good. Aston Villa went on a brilliant run, but apart from that, they've been a bit up and down. Chelsea are up in the bin. Tottenham are in the bin. It feels as if we've just missed a massive opportunity to cement ourselves as a top 4 club.
Another year in champs, gasses players to sign for us,
and
keeps
another year in the champ. Yeah, we could have. In many ways, I think we could have been challenging for the title if we got things right. But because of how things are this year, but unfortunately, if 25 points dropped from winning positions, that is. I'm trying to think if we add them on now. So what? We're on 42. We'll be on 73 points.
You'd be top of the league.
We'll be on 67 points. We'll be on 67 points. We'll be on 67 points.
This would be a title decided. You lot be first, we'd be third. I'm looking at the table.
But also, you would take 3 points off you because you're one of the 3 points that.
Oh yeah, shit. Yeah. You're right. Even worse. Yeah.
We'd be on 67 points each.
Yeah.
And look,
good spot, yeah.
And I know that. Yeah, and I know that you're not going to hold on to all those points. Every team drops points to win positions, of course.
But even half.
We're in the Champions League race, and I think that's where. And then, that's the problem. I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. We score first. It's not even like we drop off. I think if we dropped off and defended properly, we'd probably be fine. It's like we just then go almost too. We're trying to go too direct to get another goal rather than like, right, let's have some control, lads. Let's keep the ball.
Be a bit street smart.
Nah, we can't keep the ball. The only players that can pass the ball really are Miley and Hall. The rest of them, like Joe Linton, love the guy. But in a game where we've got more possession, pointless. Absolutely pointless.
Yeah, he is.
I'm gutted he's banned for tomorrow because he'd be brilliant.
Oh, thank the Lord. Yeah. Have music to my ears, man. He's a bully. I'm not trying to see him. He's one player I do not like at Newcastle. But again, like I said, because he's a bastard. That's one player I don't want to see. Thank the Lord.
Yeah, don't worry, CJ. He's banned. He's banned because
he'll be back next season, man.
Because he played against Palace. In the game where again we're gonna have more of the ball, it made no sense to me that he was starting, but he was, and then in the end, he's starting. He got that yellow card, so it's 10 yellow cards for the season, banned for 2 games. And I was like, he's gonna miss Arsenal now. That's the game I need him playing. That's the game he's going to be good in. His best game this season was Manchester United at home, where we were down to 10 men for the majority of the game.
And he's going to muck in and put in a shift.
And it was like we had more men. Because he was just everywhere.
He's so he's ridiculous, bro. He's like he looks about 10 foot on TV. I think him, you know what? He sums up for me, and obviously it's not just this, but he for me sums up Eddie Howe's good qualities in that. I remember when he was a striker because a few years ago, Reece Nelson was you lot must have bought him from Hoffenheim or something, right? Something like that. Yeah,
40 million.
Reece Nelson was there on loan. So obviously I used to watch the games and whatnot. And I used to see him play up front. And I used to think, this guy is shit. Where did they find this guy? He's mad shit. I thought he was shit for a minute at Newcastle. And then he's gone in centre midfield. And it's not that he's changed, but he looks a completely different player. I'm seeing driving runs. He's mucking in. He's looking like it looks so genius from Eddie Howe. And in many ways it is, isn't it? Because he's looked at his qualities and done it. It's a bit like us. It's not the same because I rate what Eddie Howe's done with Joe Linton more than the Kai Havertz thing. But it's like the reverse Kai because we had Kai in midfield. Why on God's green earth you think Kai Havertz can replace Granit Xhaka is another conversation. But we failed upwards with him going up front. I actually think he's going to go with Kai Havertz tomorrow. And a point you said about how you sit with the flat midfield, that makes me more believe Kai is going to go in there. Maybe if the game opens up, you might see a Martinelli or a Gyökeres. But if it was up to me, I can't lie. My starting 11 tomorrow, Ben White's been running the ground. I don't expect to see Timber. So what? Mosquera right back, Hincapié left back. We need some warriors against Newcastle. Saliba and obviously Magalhaes, obviously Raya. Midfield, if it was up to me, I'd actually play Eze Rice, Eze Rice or the guard. I know we can get bullied and overran, but I just want to see us just do something different. We can get overran, but we might as well try something. But if I'm honest, we probably do need Zubi, even though he's in a stinking bit of form. Rice, Zubi. I think Eze should be playing in the 10 because he's one of the players that's in a good moment. But I think he'll go Rice, Zubi, Odegaard, Eze off the left. If it was up to me, I'd just start Max Dowman because you pissed me off the least. But I genuinely think it's going to be Noni. And you know what? Noni, Martinelli, I'd rather that. I'd actually, funny enough, I'd rather play Eze Odegaard, put Trossard left wing, Dowman on the right. And then you kind of have to go with Kai. I think he's going to go the same starting 11 from City, if I'm brutally honest.
Yeah.
I don't think Saka's starting all that.
No. I think the same. It'll be the same 11. And I think Eze off the left is actually Arsenal's best attacking option. I don't know why he's not been off the left.
If you think that, like, we're playing you lot.
If you look at what he did at Palace in the left-hand sided 10 role, I mean, he was unbelievable. He was genuinely unbelievable. So
Arteta's
good.
clipped his wings, man.
Yeah, and like if you put him on the left, if I was again, I truly believe if Arsenal played him off the left, I know Odegaard's been injured, so maybe, and Havertz has been injured as well, so I understand. But maybe if Marino would play in the 10 or whatever, and Eze off the left, I think Arsenal would win the league already. I think the league would be done.
We missed it's so funny you said that. And another kind of thing we bond over, Marino, innit? He played for
Marino, yeah. He was.
You see what we're talking about? Like, you need clutch players. I miss Marino for that. Like, I know it's always the players that are not involved, bro, that you look at and you're like, wow, they could have helped us, yeah. But you know, you obviously watched Arsenal versus City. The last header from Havertz, I thought, if that's Marino, that goes in. We got a point. We live to fight another day. Honestly, among everything else, I'm pissed off with my football club, yeah. And I know it's not just Mikel Arteta running them into the ground, even though I believe that. It's another, we've signed more players and we still got injuries. And then we head into April. This April, the last kind of hurdle in the Grand National. Players are injured, form's gone, results are gone. It's just like momentum, as you said, and I think that's the theme's gone. It's like we're just crumbling at this one stage. Like, I do think us Arsenal fans, including myself, we've been nitpicking and kind of been pissed off all season, but we've allowed City to go from here and go up there. We've started here and just and we need to win beyond the obvious because we ain't like, bro, domestic football's been horrible for us recently, bro.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. It's been a tough watch, you know, for Arsenal.
You're telling me, mate.
Yeah. Well, it has been, and I feel like it's a strange one because I just feel like it is on Arteta. It is on Arteta. If Arsenal don't win anything, this is on Arteta because Manchester City didn't even know, as I said earlier, didn't know what their best 11 was at all, and they've now found it in the Champions League. Atletico Madrid. That's not going to be easy going to there. Simeone, you know, we know what he's
even
like.
If you get past them, bro.
Actually, Atletico Madrid aren't the Atletico Madrid that we usually associate with. They're not actually as good defensively anymore, but they're much better going forward. And they've got some real star quality in their team. They genuinely have. Like, Lookman is playing really well. They've got Julian Alvarez. Antoine Griezmann's probably one of my favourite players of the last 15 years. Right. I absolutely love that guy. Even at this age, he's still delivering consistently all of the time. They've got Crystal Palace flop Alexander Soloth up front as well. So,
and he's chipped him with 1-2 goals as well.
He does. He has. He's a decent goal scorer. So that's gonna be really tough. But I will say, honestly, if any Arsenal fans watching, I can see winning 3-1. I think it'd be quite comfortable against us. This is not the Newcastle team that that Arteta has really struggled against for so long. I think the only time that you've really beaten us badly was 23-24. You beat us 4-1. I think Willock scored our goal. I can't remember who scored the Arsenal goals, but Willock scored our goal. That was at a moment where I think we were now about 13 fit players. So, but now we've got everyone fit. It's just that the team's just not at the level it once was, and it feels like we're just coursing to the end of the season. As I've said, I think a fresh start overall should happen. It seems like the club are going to give Howe another chance. The only issue I've got that is I don't want it to turn really nasty and sad whereby we get to October, we're still losing games. He's had a whole summer to buy the players he wants, and he kind of gets booed out. And
yeah, you don't. As an Arsenal fan, like I've seen it with Emre, I've seen it here and there with Mikel. Obviously, Arsene Wenger's the best one. It gets nasty, and beyond everything, it'd be horrible for Eddie Howe because what he's done, both in his managerial career, I think he can manage this country one day, and obviously what he's done at Newcastle, he's gone down in folklore in many ways, yeah. Like, but also he's won you a trophy. It would be horrible. I hear you in that Newcastle. Like, if we was the Arsenal, even though I wasn't happy, if we was the Arsenal before the international break, I would be confident today, going into tomorrow, obviously. But for me, Jack, it's a thing where I hear what you're saying about how you're feeling about your club, but from my perspective, it's a thing where I need them to put their big boy pants on. And I just know if I always put myself in the rival's shoes. So if I was a Newcastle player, a bit like what happened with Bournemouth, if you get an early goal, there's nerves, there's tension, people are getting scared. Arsenal are a bit of a the performance against City was a reaction, but we're like a damaged animal. Like heads might drop and things, and you lot could have that fearless approach. Like, granted, if you lose, you're going to be angry, but if you you certainly, like, no one expects you to win. So if we lose, you know all the talking points. City haven't kicked a ball and they've won the weekend, and he's all of that, and there is more like mentality questions, and even that, yeah. The last time we played at the Emirates was Bournemouth, so the fans need a performance. So I think it's one of those where it's all about psychological factors and things of that ilk, man. Even if it's like Eddie Howe's able to get the playbook of a few years ago and you stink the place out initially, you know how Arsenal fans are. There starts to become booze. We're a bit nervous. We're a bit agitated. That's feeding off to the crowd. All you need to do is score one. Like, I actually go with Arsenal 3-1. The only difference I would say is I think you lot take the lead. I do think that's in the script, that we start well first 10 minutes. You lot get one chance, bang. And I'll be looking at my players. Obviously, I don't know them and know their personalities. But if I see this when they go a goal down, I'm checking out, because I know you're not getting out of the game. Like, you're feeling sorry for yourselves. We can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's mad, man.
Really
my last question for you then, like my last question.
Yeah. It's been great. Thank you. I really enjoyed it.
No, it is. And again, it's a selfish Arsenal question. Like, if Arteta doesn't win silverware and you as an Arsenal fan, would you like sack him, or are you on next season? Because he's got a year left on his deal. Like, would you persist with him, or is it, you know what, you've tried, you've done well, you're just not the guy type of thing? New guy in.
Nah, he's gone. Get him out. Get him out. He's gone. He's come out.
He said it, not me.
He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. I'm sorry. It's the other seasons, I think, are fair enough. I think that season where, look, you were against a Manchester City team who won the treble, right? Okay. Fair enough. 23, 24, as we said, I forgot about that run. Was it like you won like 16 or 17 games or something?
Yeah, something like that, like 14, 15, 16 games on the spin.
You pushed them all the way. It was obviously in the cup competitions you went out earlier on, but I get it because you focus on the Premier League or the Champions League. Last season, the Champions League, you come up against a PSG super team. You were pretty good in the away leg. Home leg, you were pretty poor. But the away leg, you were pretty good. Saka misses a massive chance at 2-1, I believe it was. Yeah. That changes everything. So there's been other ones that have been a bit different, a bit close. This season, though, I mean, Carabao Cup, the final, you didn't turn up. Realistically,
disgraceful, bro. I don't know if the Bournemouth game or the cup final pisses me off more. I have to say the League Cup final, because at the end of the day, it's a cup final. But shat the bed, you didn't turn up against Bournemouth. You're right, and that's how I actually like Arteta. I rate him a lot. But this is why I'm so harsh on you, because you said it there, and this is why I've been specifically asking you questions as a non-Arsenal fan, because I don't. As an Arsenal fan, you always get labelled. If I cut Arteta some excuses where I think it is, I'm an Arteta apologist, or I hate the guy. This season, you've gone into it with everything. And it's the last hurdle. Like, you've got, cool, I don't want to just get to a final and lose, but you've got to a league final. You've got to an FA Cup, one round before Wembley. You're still in a Premier League race, as unrealistic as I think it is, and you're still in the champs. So you've made us competitive, and I won't take that away from you, but there's being competitive and there's getting over the line, and you might not be the guy. You just might not be ready to be the guy, and we might have to divorce. For Arsenal to get over the line, we might need someone else, and for you to go to the next level as a coach, you need to go somewhere else. Because I do think, I do think he gets too much his own way now. There's definitely been times where he's had to work with what he's got, but you get every player you want. You get every player you want. You get to do tactics in your own way. You have a lot of say in things off the field. Not that there's been many a manager at our club, but you've gone from head coach to manager. You have a lot of say off the field. You've got a great relationship with the owner, Josh Kroenke. So with all this power, it comes responsibility. I do think you're one of the best managers in world football in the league. I don't think you're the best manager in the world, like obviously Enrique, Pep. You like the bracket below. You have done a lot of good things. But that's why I'm asking you to do this, because we're closer to getting over the line, bro, than going the other way. And every year you don't get over the line, it's going to get bigger and bigger. Now, granted, many people sit here and say, who would you get? I can't tell you who we'd get. We could get better, we could get worse, but you have to try something. And I always flip that and say, do you know what? When we took Mikel Arteta, he was part of the coaching staff at City. Like he weren't at no other club. So if we've had the research to go and gamble like that, then there must be someone else. And I don't want to take it here, but he's on 50 mil a year. You really think there's managers that might not think, oh, you know what, 15 mil a year, the squad is this, I might have some money to spend. I don't think you can defend it. This season's unacceptable. 9 points clear. Potentially there was a point we're talking about going 12 points. And now I'm relying on one goal difference or minimum winning all my games, and it's still kind of out my hand. As you said, I'm paraphrasing, but you basically said it like, we've allowed City to get their act together. I think it's inexcusable. Now, of course, the players got to take responsibility, all of this, but I'm not being funny. We all watch football. It is the manager. This is the nature of the game. You can't get rid of 20 players. You can for one. So, yeah, bro, there's nothing else. Last question then. Like, I won't quite say salvage Newcastle season because like it is what it is for everyone. But like, what's the best case scenario from now to the end of the season? Like, what would be a good finish? Like, how do you salvage what's left and end on a high type of thing?
So obviously win all your games. If we could win all the games,
Yeah.
we'd finish on 57 points, which actually somehow would probably actually get us back into European contention, which is ridiculous.
On paper
But
right now, 100%.
yeah, it absolutely would. If we could do that, that would, and then I think that would obviously change everyone's idea on Eddie Howe as well. What I realistically can say happening, which is such a shame. And by the way, I'm such a positive. I know everyone's going to watch this and think I'm the most negative Newcastle fan ever. I can tell you for free, I'm extremely a positive Newcastle fan, but I've got eyes. I know I've got glasses on, but I've got eyes, and I'm watching my team deliver dross week after week of dross, and there's nothing changing. So realistically, I can only say it's picking up 4 points maximum from the remaining games of the year, and I think Leeds. Okay, so it's Arsenal, Brighton,
I'm sure you got Brighton
flying. We've got Nottingham Forest away. We have West Ham at home, and we finish up against Fulham away.
I back you lot against Fulham.
Yeah, Fulham away.
They got the momentum and they're fighting for their lives. Brighton's horrible. West Ham fighting for their lives. Obviously, if we're serious, we're trying to keep our Premier League trophies alive. And based on what you're saying and how you're playing in that, yeah, man. Yeah. I like Newcastle, man. Like I like you lot. There's some clubs I don't like. I actually like Newcastle. I like the battles. I like how your fans are. I wish we could, if I could steal one thing beyond the obvious from Newcastle, I wish I could take your atmosphere and just go, boom, the Emirates. Especially with one thing I like, because I've been Newcastle away. Just put the away fans in the heavens, bro.
It's great, isn't it?
Nobody can hear you, man. Safe. I like that stuff. At the Emirates, obviously, we ain't got fans like you, but at the Emirates, you can see and hear the away fans. And I've always rated that about Newcastle. I don't know if it's a stadium structure thing, but whoever came up with that, fucking brilliant, mate.
Yeah, it's just the excuse every year. So I would just say, it's too unsafe to move them, so they've got to stay there.
I rate that. I wish we did that stuff, man.
That's where my season ticket used to be. Mine used to be right next to the away fans. Honestly, some games you wouldn't even watch the game; you just spend the whole time abusing the away fans. It was mint.
This is what I want at my club. This is what we need fans like this, man. I wish the Emirates, and don't get twisted, Highbury wasn't like the atmosphere was better, but we've never been that club where it's like Ellen Road, St. James's Park, Anfield, whatever have you. But I do think you need that. I do. Obviously, winning games and being competitive and winning trophies makes it a horrible place to go. But I want us to become long term. Probably it's not going to happen, but them, because I do think to a degree, maybe not so much this season. St. James's Park is one of them places where games can be won before a ball's kicked. When you're in the tunnel, you're seeing the Newcastle legends. Fans are giving you verbal, getting kicked all up and down the place. It's a horrible place, and that's what we need it to be, man. Jack, where can people find you, man? All your stuff's going to be in the description anyways, but yeah, where can people find you?
Yeah, no worries. Obviously, anyone wants to check out Inside the Tune, of course, CJ has been on Inside Gooners, which is obviously TalkSport's inside shows, 50-minute long shows by fans, for fans. You know, I'm sure CJ about to say himself. I think they're brilliant. I really do. I think they are such a great piece of content for fans. And, you know, it's
best bit of content on TalkSport, if I'm honest. It's quite cool.
Well, no one's rage baiting anyone. It's literally, you know, it's for the fans. It's simple as that. And so there's obviously that. If you haven't checked out Inside Gooners, Inside the Tune. And then on Twitter, I'm just at JackCun96. And then on Instagram, I'm Jack.Kun96 as well.
And all of it will be in the description, people, man. Make sure you follow Jack. And one thing I like about Jack is obviously he's a Newcastle fan, but I've got a lot of time for him because he's a fan of football. And it's dumb to say, but I don't feel there's many fans that are fans of the game that can put their caps down and just talk ball. So I've got all the time in the world for you. Again, you heard what the man said. Go and follow him. By the time this comes out, everything will be in the description. So yeah, man. Jack, it's been a fantastic hour and 15 minutes. Let me let you enjoy your Friday, man. Appreciate you.
CJ, I've loved it. Thank you very much.
My guy, man. I made the best team win, man, which hopefully is us, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's not. So yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, people. Let us know your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Over and out, man. Peace. Safe.